My girlfriend said she needed to talk to me. I thought it would be another argument about something. But instead, she said, my ex is coming back. For a few days. I want you to pretend that you and I have no relationship. My heart broke. I didn't say a word. I picked up my car keys and walked away. I didn't even look back. After her ex left, I received a message from her best friend. Do you know what your girlfriend's ex has done? I replied, what? My name's Jake. I'm 28. Been working as a freelance photographer for the past 4 years. Not glamorous work. Mostly real estate listings, the occasional wedding, some corporate headshots. It pays the bills. Keeps me flexible. I met Andrea 2 years ago at a coffee shop in Portland. She was a junior architect at some mid-sized firm downtown. Dark hair, sharp eyes, the kind of person who looked like she had her life figured out. We clicked. Or at least I thought we did. That conversation happened on a Tuesday night. March 14th. I remember because it was Pie Day and I'd bought her a cherry pie as a stupid joke. She didn't even smile when she saw it. We were sitting in her apartment. She'd texted me earlier that day. Can we talk tonight? It's important. I figured it was about money. She'd been stressed about her student loans lately, and I'd offered to help. Or maybe it was about moving in together. We'd been dancing around that conversation for months. But when I walked in, she was pacing. Her hands kept fidgeting with her phone. She didn't even look at the pie. What's going on? I asked. She stopped pacing, looked at me, and then she said it. My ex is coming back. For a few days. I want you to pretend that you and I have no relationship. I just stared at her. What? His name is Brendan. He's flying in from Chicago for work. He doesn't know about you. I need you to not be around. Just for a few days. I felt something crack inside my chest. Like ice breaking under weight. Why? Because it's complicated, Jake. We ended things badly. I don't want to stir anything up. So you want me to just disappear? Pretend I don't exist? It's not like that. Then what is it like, Andrea? She didn't answer. Just looked at the floor. I set the pie down on her counter. My hands were shaking. Are you still in love with him? No. God, no. It's not about that. Then what is it about? She opened her mouth, closed it, shook her head. I can't explain right now. I just need you to trust me. Trust her. After she'd just asked me to erase myself from her life. I didn't yell. Didn't argue. I picked up my car keys from the counter and walked out. I heard her call my name once, but I didn't turn around. The door clicked shut behind me, and I stood in that hallway for a moment, breathing hard, feeling like I'd just been punched in the gut. Update 1. I drove around for 2 hours that night. Ended up parked near the waterfront, staring at nothing. The Willamette River was black and still. A few joggers passed by, couples holding hands. Normal people living normal lives. My phone buzzed constantly. Andrea. I didn't read the messages. Didn't want to see her explanations or apologies or whatever she thought would make this okay. The next morning, I woke up on my couch still wearing yesterday's clothes. My neck hurt. My phone had 17 missed calls. 12 from Andrea. 5 from her best friend, Isabel. I called Isabel back around 9 a.m. Jake, thank God. Are you okay? I'm fine. Andrea told me what happened. She's losing her mind. She's been crying all night. She didn't mean it the way it sounded. How else could she have meant it, Isabel? Silence on the other end. Look, she said finally. I don't know what she was thinking, but she's scared. Brendan, he's not a good guy. Then why does she care what he thinks? It's complicated. Everyone kept saying that. Complicated. Like that explained anything. I have to go, I said. Jake, wait. I hung up. Blocked Andrea's number. I wasn't going to sit around waiting for an explanation that would just hurt worse. For 3 days, I buried myself in work. Shot 2 houses on Wednesday, a renovated bungalow in Selwood and a modern condo downtown. Edited photos until 3 a.m. both nights. Avoided every coffee shop, every restaurant, every place I thought I might run into her. My apartment felt too quiet, too empty. My buddy Cole texted me on Friday. Drinks tonight? You've been MIA. I said yes. I needed to get out of my head. We went to this dive bar in Northeast Portland. The kind with sticky floors and a jukebox that only played songs from the 80s. Pool tables in the back. Neon beer signs on every wall. Cole could tell something was wrong, but he didn't push. Just bought the first round and let me drink in silence. Woman trouble? He asked after my second beer. Something like that. Want to talk about it? Not really. He nodded. Racked up the pool balls. We played 3 games. I lost all of them. Couldn't focus. Around 10 p.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Hello? Jake? It was Isabel. I told you I'm fine. Shut up and listen. Do you know what your girlfriend's ex has done? I paused, set my beard down on the edge of the pool table. What? He's been threatening her. For months. Andrea took out a loan in his name when they were together. $20,000. She used it to pay off some of her own debt. He found out after they broke up. He's been harassing her ever since. Texts, calls, showing up at her work. He told her if she didn't pay him back, he'd ruin her career. Spread lies to her firm. Get her fired. Maybe worse. My stomach dropped. The bar noise around me. Laughter, clinking glasses, the jukebox. All of it faded into background static. Why didn't she tell me? Because she's ashamed, Jake. And terrified. She thought if she could just get through his visit, play nice, convince him she was working on paying him back, he'd leave her alone. She didn't want you involved because she didn't want him to target you too. I sat there, gripping my phone, feeling like the ground had shifted beneath me. Where is she now? At her apartment. With him. I hung up, grabbed my jacket off the back of my chair. Cole looked at me. You good? I have to go. Need backup. No. I'll call you later. I was out the door before he could respond. Update 2. I drove to Andrea's place. It was almost 11 p.m. Her apartment was on the 3rd floor of an old brick building near Hawthorne, the kind with iron fire escapes and windows that rattled when trucks drove by. I parked across the street and sat there for a minute, engine running, trying to figure out what I was doing. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel. Then I saw him. Brendan. Had to be. Tall, probably 6'2", clean cut with that corporate haircut. Wearing a charcoal blazer over a white button-down, dark jeans, expensive shoes. He was standing outside her building, smoking a cigarette, talking on the phone, laughing at something, completely relaxed, like he owned the world. I turned off the engine, got out of my car. I didn't have a plan, didn't know what I was going to say, but I walked across the street toward him, my heart pounding in my chest. He noticed me when I was about 10 feet away, ended his call, slipped his phone into his pocket. Can I help you? He asked. His voice was smooth, confident, the kind of voice used to getting what it wants. You, Brendan? He narrowed his eyes, took a drag from his cigarette. Who's asking? I'm Jake, Andrea's boyfriend. He smiled, actually smiled, like I just told him a joke. Oh, right, the photographer. He exhaled smoke. She mentioned you. Did she? Yeah, told me you two were on a break. Guess she didn't want to make things awkward while I was in town. I felt my fists clench at my sides. Felt heat rising up my neck. She's not on a break. And you need to leave her alone. He laughed. A short, sharp sound. Leave her alone? She's the one who stole from me, man. 20 grand. You know about that. I know you've been harassing her. Harassing? He stepped closer. I could smell his cologne. Something expensive and cloying. I'm collecting what I'm owed. She signed the loan documents. Forged my signature on the investment papers. That's fraud. Identity theft. I could have her arrested. Charged. But I'm being nice. Giving her a chance to make it right. By threatening her. By giving her options. He flicked his cigarette onto the sidewalk. Crushed it under his shoe. Look, I don't have a problem with you. You seem like a decent guy. But this is between me and Andrea. Business. So why don't you go home, cool off, and let the adults handle this? I didn't move. Just stood there, staring at him. He sighed. Suit yourself. I'm done out here anyway. Too cold. He turned and walked back into the building. Pulled the door open and disappeared into the lobby. I stood there for a moment, breathing hard, shaking. Then I followed him inside. The lobby was small. Mailboxes on one wall. Narrow staircase on the other. I could hear his footsteps echoing above me as he climbed the stairs. By the time I got to Andrea's door on the 3rd floor, it was already open. I could hear voices inside. Brendan's. Andrea's. I told you, I'm working on it. Working on it isn't good enough, Andrea. I want a payment plan. In writing. With dates. Amounts. Tonight. I can't just. You can. Or I start making calls. Your firm. Your parents. The police. How do you think that'll play out for you? I walked in. They both turned. Andrea's face went white. She was standing by the kitchen counter, arms wrapped around herself. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. Jake. Get out, I said to Brendan. He smiled again. That same infuriating smile. Or what? Or I call the cops. Tell them you've been extorting her. Extorting? He laughed. Shook his head like I was a child who didn't understand. I have the loan documents. I have the texts where she admits what she did. I have proof that she used my information without my consent. What do you have? Proof that you've been threatening her. Witness statements. A pattern of harassment. Good luck with that. He looked at Andrea. You really want to drag your boyfriend into this? Make him an accessory. Andrea's voice was small. Broken. Jake, please. Just go. I can handle this. No, I said. You can't. Brendan looked at his watch. A Rolex. Of course. I'm done here anyway. Got an early flight tomorrow. Andrea, you have until Monday. Noon. Figure it out. Give me a payment plan or I start making moves. He walked past me, shoulder brushing mine deliberately. I heard the door close behind him. The lock click. Andrea just stood there, tears streaming down her face now, her whole body shaking. Why didn't you tell me? I asked quietly. Because I was ashamed. Because I didn't want you to see me like this. Weak. Stupid. Broken. I wouldn't have thought that. Yes, you would have. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. Everyone does. I made a mistake. A huge, terrible mistake. And now I'm paying for it. I didn't want to drag you into it. I didn't want him to know about you. To use you against me. So you pushed me away instead. She nodded. Collapsed onto her couch. Put her face in her hands. I sat down next to her. The couch creaked under our weight. How much do you actually owe him? $20,000. That was the original loan. But he's tacked on interest. Penalties. Says I owe him 30 now. Maybe more. Jesus, Andrea. I know. We sat in silence for a long time. I could hear the neighbors above us walking around. A dog barking somewhere down the hall. Tell me everything. I said. From the beginning. Update 3. Andrea told me the whole story that night. We sat on her couch until 3 a.m. while she explained everything. She and Brendan had dated for 2 years. Met in college. He was in finance, already climbing the corporate ladder by the time they graduated. She was just starting her architecture career. He was charismatic, ambitious, made her feel like they could build something together. A year into their relationship, he pitched her an investment opportunity. A real estate development project in Milwaukee. He needed capital fast. His money was tied up in other investments. If she could take out a loan, just temporarily, they'd both be owners. They'd pay it back together within a year. Double their money. She was hesitant, but he was persuasive. Showed her projections. Documents. Made it sound foolproof. She signed the loan papers. $20,000. Put it in a joint account they'd opened together. 3 months later, the investment fell through. Or so he said. The money was gone. He told her it was a bad break. These things happen. They'd figure it out. Then he broke up with her. Said he needed space. Needed to focus on his career. Moved to Chicago for a new job. Andrea was left with the debt. When she tried to contact him about it, he denied everything. Said the loan was her responsibility. Her signature. Her problem. She spent the next year drowning. Trying to make payments. Falling behind. Destroying her credit. Then 6 months ago, Brendan reached out. Said he'd heard she was struggling. Offered to help. But his help came with conditions. And threats. He had copies of everything. The loan documents. The investment papers. Text messages where she'd thanked him for the opportunity. He could make her look like a criminal if he wanted. Ruin her career. Her reputation. So she'd been paying him. Small amounts. Whatever she could afford. But it was never enough. Why didn't you go to the police? I asked. Because I was scared. He has lawyers. Money. Connections. And I signed those papers. I looked guilty. You're not guilty. He manipulated you. Try proving that. Over the next week, I did something I probably shouldn't have. I started digging into Brendan's life. I found his LinkedIn. Senior financial analyst at a mid-sized investment firm in Chicago. Lots of connections. Recommendations. A perfect corporate profile. I found his social media. Instagram full of vacation photos. Expensive restaurants. Golf courses. A lifestyle funded by what? I wondered. And then I found something interesting. A Reddit post. From 2 years ago. Written by someone with the username CheTownGirl88. Posted in a legal advice subreddit. The story was familiar. Too familiar. A woman asking if she could press charges against her ex-boyfriend for financial coercion. She described how he'd convinced her to take out loans in her name for a business investment. How he'd promised to pay them back together. How he'd disappeared after the investment failed. Left her with $30,000 in debt. The comments were sympathetic but not helpful. Most said it was a civil matter. Hard to prove coercion. She'd need documentation. Proof of promises. The post had been deleted. but I'd found it through Google Cache. I screenshot everything. Sent it to Isabel. Does this sound like anyone you know? She called me 20 minutes later. Oh my God, that's Andrea. I remember when this happened. She posted that after Brendan first contacted her. But he found the post somehow. Threatened her. She deleted it and never spoke about it again. So he's done this before. That's what it sounds like. I kept digging. Cross-referenced the timeline. Found public records. Court filings. 2 other women in Chicago had filed small claims suits against Brendan for loan fraud. Both cases were dismissed. Insufficient evidence. But the pattern was there. I sent everything to Isabel. Asked her to show Andrea. Andrea didn't want to see me at first when I tried reaching out. She was embarrassed. Ashamed that I knew everything. But I showed up at her office on a Thursday afternoon anyway. Waited outside on the sidewalk until she got off work at 5:30. Jake, what are you doing here? I know what really happened. With the loan. With Brendan. Her face crumbled. She looked around like she was afraid someone might hear us. Not here. We walked to a park 2 blocks away. Chapman Square. Found a bench under a tree. The evening was cool. People were walking dogs. Pushing strollers. I showed her everything I'd found. The Reddit post. The court filings. The other women. He manipulated you, I said. This isn't your fault. He's a predator. He's done this before. It is my fault. I signed the papers. I trusted him when I shouldn't have. Under duress. That's a legal defense, Andrea. Coercion. Fraud. She shook her head. Wiped her eyes. It doesn't matter. He has the documents. The signatures. I can't prove he coerced me. It's his word against mine. Maybe you can. That Reddit post. Your text from back then. Anything he sent you promising to pay it back. I deleted everything. I was so ashamed. I wanted to forget it all happened. I took her hand. Her fingers were cold. Then we'll find another way. We'll talk to those other women. Build a pattern. Get a lawyer. She looked at me. Really looked at me. Why are you helping me? I pushed you away. I hurt you. Because I love you. And because you don't deserve this. Nobody does. She broke down then. Fully. Crying into my shoulder while people walked past us in the park. Final update. It took 2 months, but we built a case. Isabel helped us track down old texts Andrea hadn't fully deleted. Ones backed up in her cloud that she'd forgotten about. Messages where Brendan had promised to handle the loan payments. Proof that he'd listed himself as the primary borrower on the investment documents. We also found 3 other women through online searches and public records. Women Brendan had done the same thing too. One in Chicago, one in Milwaukee, one in Denver. All of them had similar stories. Loans taken out in their names for investment opportunities. Promises broken. Threats made when they asked for their money back. One of them, a woman named Caitlin from Milwaukee, agreed to talk to us. She'd lost $15,000. Spent years paying off debt. Her credit was ruined. She'd been too scared to fight back. He told me he'd sue me for defamation if I said anything. She explained over a video call. Said he had lawyers who would destroy me. We contacted a lawyer. A woman named Grace Chun who specialized in financial abuse and coercion cases. She reviewed everything. The texts. The testimonies. The pattern across multiple victims. This is good, she said. This is very good. We can file a civil suit. Maybe even get the DA interested. In May, we filed the lawsuit. Brendan tried to settle immediately. Reached out through his own lawyer with an offer. He'd drop all claims against Andrea if she dropped the case. Pretend none of it ever happened. We said no. The case started making local news in June. Local women fight back against alleged loan fraud. One of the Portland stations picked it up. Then another. Caitlin went public with her story. Social media exploded. Brendan's company launched an internal investigation. By July, he'd been placed on administrative leave. In August, the bank that had issued Andrea's original loan reviewed the case. Found irregularities in how the loan had been processed. The investment documents with Brendan's forged information. They forgave Andrea's remaining debt. Wrote it off. Brendan tried to countersue for defamation. His lawyer filed a motion. It went nowhere. Too much evidence against him. By September, his company had fired him. Last I heard, he'd moved back to Indiana, working some entry-level analyst job. His LinkedIn was gone. His social media deleted. The civil case settled in October. Brendan agreed to pay restitution to all 3 women. Drop all claims. Sign a statement admitting to financial coercion. Andrea got her money back. So did Caitlin. So did the woman from Denver. It's been 6 months since that night I walked out of Andrea's apartment. 6 months since I thought everything was over. She and I are still together. We moved in together last month. Found a small 2-bedroom place in Selwood with good natural light. Perfect for my photography studio. Close to her work. She's seeing a therapist now. Twice a week. Working through the trauma, the shame, the fear. Some days are harder than others. Some days she wakes up anxious, convinced something bad is about to happen. But she's healing. Brendan sent her an email last week. Just one line. "You ruined my life." She showed it to me. We read it together. Then she deleted it. Blocked his email address. Didn't respond. He ruined his own life, she said. I still think about that night sometimes. The moment she asked me to disappear. How much it hurt. How betrayed I felt. How close I came to walking away forever. Part of me wonders what would have happened if I had. If I just blocked her number and moved on. Found someone else. Someone without baggage or secrets or dangerous ex-boyfriends. But I didn't. And I'm glad. Because sometimes the people we love make mistakes. Sometimes they're scared. Sometimes they push us away because they're trying to protect us. And sometimes the only way forward is to fight. Together. Edit 1. A few people have asked if Brendan faced criminal charges. The DA reviewed the case, but ultimately decided there wasn't enough evidence to pursue fraud charges beyond reasonable doubt. The statute of limitations on some of the incidents had also passed. The civil suit was enough to destroy his reputation and career, though. Sometimes that has to be enough. Edit 2. Andrea paid off her remaining debt last month. The stuff that wasn't forgiven by the bank. We celebrated with Thai takeout and a bottle of cheap wine. Sat on our new couch in our new apartment and just breathed. It felt like closing a chapter. Starting a new one. Edit 3. To everyone who's messaged me with similar stories. I'm sorry you went through that. You're not alone. It's not your fault. There are resources out there. Lawyers who specialize in financial abuse. Support groups. People who will believe you. Don't give up.